Hi everyone, Jewel with Truth and Aspect Astrology, back with another astrology video. And today we're talking about Aquarius Rising and what they're like, and a little bit about what their life is like, and what their experience in the world is. And a rising sign is the sign that was rising in the east at the moment of your birth. And it's important because it really sets up the houses that make for our life experience. And it's really one of the most important things to consider when you're looking at your birth chart, because it's, your sun sign really is, your ego and your expression, and your moon is your feelings and your thinking and emotions and unconscious things. And really the rising sign is that third leg of your personality. So it's important, to know what it is. And you have to know the birth time, within a few minutes to get a real accurate picture of what your rising sign is. So Aquarius rising. These people tend to be more standoffish. And of course, you have to consider everything in astrology. When I make these videos, I talk about one thing. Somebody could have Jupiter on the Ascendant, or Venus or something, and it's going to modify or mitigate what I'm saying. So you have to look at everything in a birth chart. But when I do these Ascendant videos, it's a very basic skeletal idea about what someone with a particular rising sign is like. So they are very intellectually oriented, Aquarius rising. They're very much ruled by Uranus and Saturn. And these two planets are not, warm, fuzzy entities. They're more studious, more quieter. They're very much interested in the mechanics behind things. This rising sign is very curious, and not, in the mercurial way, like a Gemini, where, they want to know a little bit about everything. Aquarius rising wants to know everything about what it is they're into. They tend to be, have the ability to focus, and really figure out what it is that makes something tick. They're kind of prickly, and they can even come off as nerdy. This is not one of the rising signs that is, that's easy to get to know. You have to dig a little bit deeper and invest a little bit in order to figure out what somebody with this rising sign is really like. Their second house, they have Pisces there. And, this is Neptune and Jupiter. And a lot of times these people had a kind of an alternative upbringing. It was a little weird. There was something, not common about it. It may have been spiritual. It may have been wishy-washy. There was something unreliable about it. A parent could have had an addiction. That's really common with this rising sign. And often there was some kind of subtle neglect of some sort. Not really one of the signs that's more prone to, out and out abuse. It's more, if it was going on, it's, more under the table, more covert, and more matters of actual neglect. If, there was something in the history that was off, but there usually was something that was a bit off, and it has to do, with most of the time with the personality of one of the parents or both of the parents. Could be odd parents even. Third house, we have Aries, and the third house is the house of our communication. It's originally ruled by Gemini, and it describes, neighbors and siblings, and short trips and communication, and how we speak, how we get our point across. And Aries is a real forceful sign. So Aquarius rising people tend to be very direct and very blunt in their speaking and in their communication. They really don't mince words. They're not beautiful, speakers. They tend to say it like it is. And they can be argumentative, and they are very much about, getting their point across and making sure that they're heard. And, this also describes our siblings, this house, and there can be a lot of arguing with the siblings growing up, a lot of arguing, and, yelling and even fighting back and forth with the brothers and sisters. Stubbornness in communication as well. That's something else. They tend to really dig in their heels, and they can be easily drawn into a debate. The fourth house, we have Taurus that rules this, and this, describes, again, the first through the fourth house really describes our early upbringing, among other things, and the fourth house is really about the mother and describes the mother, and it's our roots, and it's a very intimate house, and it's where our heart is. And we have Taurus ruling this, and Venus rules Taurus. Aquarius rising often has a beautiful mother, or a mother that had a lot of Venusian qualities. She was very, graceful, or, there was some kind of beauty about her. Maybe a very feminine woman, an artistic woman, often an artistic mother, or a mother that, brought a lot of artistry into the home. Often a stay-at-home mother. And when Aquarius rising, grows up and has their own home, they tend to replicate that. Their homes tend to be very comfortable, and beauty is very important to them in the home environment. They don't necessarily have the talent for home decorating themselves, but they certainly, that is important to them, and they will hire that out, or they will do what they can to, they're very investigative, to investigate, how to beautify their home, and they tend to have, a very serene and sensual environment that they will create for themselves. Fifth house. Oh, they also have a fourth house. This is the other thing. They also have a very loving relationship with their mother. Now, you have to look at everything, because, the moon could be like horribly aspected with Pluto or Mars or something. It's telling a different story. You have to look at everything. But generally, they have a very loving relationship with their mothers, even as adults. Fifth house, we have Gemini there. And the fifth house is really our expression and our creativity, and our children as well. Really describes, like a lower college level education. And these people can actually be very socially charming and clever when they want to be. Now, they can, will come off as a bit coldy, but they can actually be the life of the party, Aquarius rising. They can get going, and if they start to feel a little bit comfortable and they get a couple drinks in them, they can really be funny. They can be entertaining. They can be comical. They have that ability. You wouldn't think it, but you have to see them in the right environment to see that side of them. Very clever. When it comes to engaging other people socially. And their children are usually very multi-talented. And their children are usually very smart. Aquarius rising puts a lot of focus into the education of their children. They really see that as important. They want to further that. They have a lot of themselves, their own intelligence invested in their kids. These are the parents that will spend, hours on homework. They're at every teacher-parent conference. Education of the children is really important to them. And as a result, the children tend to actually be quite brilliant. Sixth house, we have Cancer there, and where Cancer, whatever house the moon rules, this is really not a stable house in whatever rising signs chart. Whatever house is ruled by the moon is ruled by Cancer, because Cancer rules the moon. Moon rules Cancer, sorry. So, it's kind of a wishy-washy house, ups and downs. The moon, waxes and wanes and goes through different phases, rapidly throughout the month. And, the house that Cancer rules really is reflective of this. So, this is the house of our health, our daily life, our small pets, coworkers, our enemies, actually, are found here. And more covert enemies are found here. And so Aquarius rising tends to go up and down in their experience of their daily work life. It's not the most stable. Now, even though their career can be stable, their experience of their daily work life is not, generally. They can either feel like they're doing really well or they're not. And they can either feel like, they're being attacked. They can have more ideas about enemies in the workplace and feelings, that people are, not liking them or plotting against them than other signs. They can be more, just have more difficulty in relating with people in the workplace than other signs. And they can have ups and downs in popularity as well. Either they're, having a few years where they're in a job or, and they're with a bunch of coworkers that, that they're really doing well with and they're popular with, and then, that changes, and then they're with a group where they're miserable for a certain period of time. And this is just more of a theme with them than it is with the other rising signs. On the 7th house, we have Leo there. And Aquarius rising comes off as, more coldy and standoffish, but they attract something else, because we really attract what we feel we don't have. There's a lot of psychology involved in attraction and in love. And the 7th house really represents our shadow side and what we feel we're lacking, and consequently what we're looking for in another person. Because, we want to feel, whole. And oftentimes we're looking for that through another. So we have Leo ruling this house. And so Aquarius rising tends to attract someone who is more extroverted, more loud, someone who really shines. A lot of times they will choose an arm charm, Aquarius rising. They like somebody who is beautiful, and beauty matters to them. And they want someone that can kind of bring them out of their shell. And, whatever house the sun is in, or the house that the sun rules, that's where we want to shine. And so they really want to shine through their mate. So they tend to choose somebody that, at least in their mind, is very attractive and, will help them accomplish that goal of being seen. 8th house, we have Virgo there. And, this is the house of sex, money, underground things, death, taxes, things you don't want to deal with, things that we hide. And so they are very discriminating about things of the 8th house because we have Virgo here. And Mercury rules Virgo. And they are very picky about things of the 8th house. They tend to not be promiscuous. They have to look at everything because we could have, a Uranus going crazy with Mars or something. And they are very discriminating about money and about borrowing money and about debt. They are very careful about how they invest, and they're usually really good at it. They've usually done their homework, and they have done a lot of analyzing when it comes to how they deal with their money and what they do with it and how they keep it. Yeah, good with finances, good with investment, good with the details of dealing with finance, especially if they actually make really good accountants, this sign, because we have Virgo here, and they know where everything goes. 9th house, we have Libra here, and this is really the house of our attitudes and our higher mind and learning and sorry, I've been sick and I'm starting to lose my voice again. That's why I haven't made videos in a while. I've been waiting until I get my voice back, and I thought today was the day, but I'm already losing it. So we're almost done though, we're getting there. So 9th house, is the higher mind and, what we aspire to. And, sorry, I'm still sick. And, it's where our philosophies in life are found, and, our religious attitudes. And they have Libra here. So, whatever house Libra rules, this is a house that wants to achieve balance. And this is a house that usually doesn't go to extremes. So the 9th house, Aquarius rising people tend to hold their philosophies and their ideals and their ideas more lightly. Meaning that they often acknowledge that they don't know, that they don't have the answers. Now, you have to look to how the ruler of this is placed, because Libra, is ruled by Venus. So you have to look at where Venus is. If Venus is in a sign of debilitation, or if Venus is in trouble, like being afflicted by Mars or the North Node or Saturn or something, it's going to change the way this house goes. You could get somebody, or if Venus is like in Virgo, afflicted in Virgo, you can get somebody that's, like nutso about their ideals, and their way is the only way, and it's their way or the highway. But usually it's not like that. You're looking at somebody that has this attitude of, this is what I think, but I acknowledge that I don't know. So it's what I think, and I can't push that on to anybody else. They tend to be more accepting of other people's attitudes and ways, and not really staunchly set on any one way of thinking. The 10th house, we have Scorpio here, and this is really interesting to have on the 10th house, because the 10th is, our career and our social image, what we're seen for, the reputation that precedes us. Scorpio is very fixed, and it's a very deep, stubborn sign. And there's a lot of, covert energy associated with Scorpio. So when it's ruling the 10th house of career, you don't always know what's going on with these people, because it's not really just the house of career. It's the house of how we're seen in the world. It's our public image. And the reason we associate it with career is because we often associate what someone does with their image. It's hard to, pry those two things apart. So these people really want to get to where they feel they want to be. I mean, they're very, I want to say they're very driven. They're very determined to succeed in their public life. You don't always know what's going on with them because they can be very secretive about their personal life. Their work life, they almost have a little bit of a mystery about them, especially in the workplace, or if you don't know them well, you just know of them. They can almost have this mysterious kind of way because they don't give a lot away. And they can be known for being very ruthless when it comes to getting ahead. Very determined to reach their goals. And they can also have this thing about them where they can be jealous about other people's position. And that is one of the reasons that they can be driven, have that ambition to get where they want to be professionally. The 11th house, we have Sagittarius, and this is a great house to have Sagittarius ruling. This is awesome. They usually see more incoming gains, more luck, more money than most, good benefits. They make great associations, more incoming gains in life. They tend to make very beneficial associations, very beneficial friends. This is the house of friends, hopes and wishes, liquid money. Good things are found in the 11th house. And so they tend to make very lucky friendships and partnerships as well. And it benefits them. They actually, this rising sign, Aquarius rising, actually tends to make more money statistically than the other rising signs because of the way that they're made and what they're driven towards in this life. The 12th house, we have Capricorn there. Now, this is really interesting. Sorry, I'm still sick. About this rising sign. Aquarius rising tends to not have the most energy because their physical body, the sign that rules them, at least the sign that co-rules them, Saturn, is going into the 12th house. It's ruling the 12th house as well. The 12th house is really the house of losses. It's the house of self-undoing. Things go to die and they dissipate and disappear. In the 12th house, it's the traditional house of spirituality and things that are hidden from us. And it's a very esoteric house. And so their energy level tends to not be awesome because the physical body is ruling the house of things that dissipate and go away and disappear. So they can experience lower energy levels throughout their lives and more, unnamed health crisis. They tend to have more psychosomatic complaints than the other signs because we have the actual body going into the house of the unconscious. So it creates this, this situation that's just ripe for psychological illness. So that's something that they have to watch out for. That a lot of their complaints they're in the head. So that is my analysis on Aquarius Rising. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'm hoping to finish up my Ascendant series this week and start on planets through the houses. and then plans through the signs. And see you soon. I do consultation. You can find me on Facebook at Truth in Aspect Astrology. And you can find me on the web at truthinaspectastrology.com. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.